Birds not only make the garden healthier and enrich the ecosystem, but they're hugely enjoyable for us gardeners to watch. Each feeder you add to your garden is another source of nourishment, catering to the needs of our garden friends. Here with more tips and treats to entice our feathered favourites into the garden, horticulturist and self-confessed bird superfan, her words, not mine, Camilla Bassett-Smith, birder or twitcher or whatever.
I love them, Alan,
Yeah.
and I think as a gardener, and you and I both know that feeling of being outside and just seeing them, and they're kind of hand in hand with gardening, aren't they? Or beak to beak.
They're a part, like butterflies, bees and insects, they are a part of a garden as important as the plants. And it cost me a fortune, this food.
Oh, I can imagine it does.
Dustbins I have.
Yeah, and I love the robin in particular, and
Yeah.
I'm quite eccentric at home, Alan. I know that will surprise you.
Quite eccentric anyway, really.
But I go out and I call him and I say, Robs, and up he comes. He's
Does
really
he
that trained.
That's really
yeah,
good.
he's very, very good. And he loves, I mean, cheese and different things. But
now, the time was when we only fed birds in winter. We know how to feed them all year round, don't we?
Yes, exactly. And they know, and they come back when they have that feed. And what are we feeding them? Well, a wide selection. As you said, you've got bins full of different food. But peanuts are a classic, aren't they? They're very high in protein and high in fat. Loved by blue tits, nuthatches, even woodpeckers.
Yeah, we get nuthatches coming down, and these are the bird feeders that you put the peanuts in, because it's important, isn't it, when they've got nestlings at this time of year, that they don't take whole ones.
Yes, because the little ones can choke on them. So don't put them out like that, but put them in one of these.
Yeah.
Or crushed up, and you could put them on the ground.
Do you know, funny enough, I tend not to use... I don't feed with peanuts at all. Well, because I feed with feeders like this, and this, just because I worry about that, so I don't bother.
And so much choice here. I mean, you get these mixes that have a wide variety of things, from yellow millet to the little mealworms.
These, freeze-dried mealworms, these.
I prefer them like that than wriggling, I must admit. I know it's nature, Alan,
but... they seem to move, don't they, when you've got them in your hand? And robins love those. Your robin will love them.
Yeah, he would, yes. He's had enough cheese as it is, Alan, but yes, give him that as well.
Cheese. You see, I always use that rather than these, which has got the husks on, only because I'm fairly tidy.
Well, yes, because you have they take the sort of the shells off. But
and these husks all end up at the bottom.
They do, but with the black and the striped ones, apparently the black shells have more oil in them. So if they are, I mean, I know they discard them anyway, but actually it's, you know, if you're going to go for one or the other, the black one's particularly good. And then you've got this suet.
Little bits of suet in there, pellets, suet pellets.
And they're quite tidy, actually, aren't they? They tend to take those quite easily.
Yeah, and also they're very good for their fat reserves as well.
And you've got feeders as well, different ones. I mean, this is gorgeous, isn't it? You can put a handful of this.
My goodness me, what they go through in a day. Once they get to know your feeding stations, they come and they wait. And they feed 2 or 3 times during the day.
Yeah,
there are quiet periods, I noticed.
Yes.
And they come for lunch.
Yes.
And then they come for a bit of supper before they...
Yes, that's it. When
roost.
everything's quite quiet, and the best time in the garden, isn't it, when you're watering often?
Yes.
It's then that they come in.
Yeah.
But other types of feeders as well, you've got these very elaborate. I kind of feel I ought to be singing, I'm leaning on a lamppost next to this one.
Resist.
I will. But you've got, again, for birds that like feeding on the ground or on a tray, like a blackbird, something like that, they will sit, or actually pigeons, dare I say pigeons.
Yeah, I'm afraid they're everywhere. Pigeons and crows will come as well, but you can't be choosy when it comes to wildlife.
Well, I do feed my crows, Alan.
Do you?
A little tidbits from the house. So if I've got things like fat from the meat, again, cheese, pastry, anything like that, I feed them.
But don't leave it out at night or you'll get rodents.
No, they come first thing in the morning, and then they hide little bits, because lots of birds will do that, and then find them later on.
Cleaning your feeders is important too,
really
every week or two, scrubbing them out, because greenfinches in particular have had a terrible disease that's been perpetuated and carried on by dirty feeders.
That's a really important thing to do. And dare I say squirrels. Now, Alan, I have a huge problem with squirrels at home.
You need one of these.
They're always eating my bird feed. And yes, this is what I need. It's a caged bird feeder, because there is no way they're getting through that. Because I've tried putting things on string from branches.
They climb down.
They climb down it, or they nibble it.
Gnaw it off.
If you put it quite low down so they can't get to it, they then jump up. They're so clever.
These are great because the squirrel can't get through this, but the blue tits and the robins and the sparrows very quickly learn that they can and that they're safe in there. Yeah. And that's the only way to keep squirrels off, really.
It really is. And I have a goldcrest, actually, which they're quite unusual. I've only seen it a couple of times. And I think they're the smallest bird in the UK, slightly smaller than a wren, I believe.
The goldcrest and the firecrest are about 2 smallest.
And they've got this amazing yellow stripe, haven't they, on their head? So, so pretty. And then water, of course.
Yes, clean water.
Yes, and it's so easy to have bird baths. I mean, this is lovely. This is actually made of a plastic substance, so it's not heavy. So if it's one you want to move around, but so good to have and lovely to see them bathing, drinking, and again, they really do come, don't they?
Because they bathe, and wood pigeons particularly come, and all the stuff from their feathers tends to come off in there, get this film on the surface. So again, with that, important that you clean it out every day. It's not a tough job, you know.
It's really not, especially if you do it frequently. Then it's less tough. And metal, I mean, this is really sweet, isn't it? I love this kind of little dainty.
Is this your Robin, the one you were talking about, your cheese
I know.
toad?
He's followed me here.
He's very friendly.
He's everywhere,
yeah,
Alan.
really. Yeah, not a lot in there, and of course, very easy there. And the great thing about these is they will fit in the smallest place.
Yeah, they really will.
And if you haven't got a garden, if you've got a balcony, you've got a windowsill,
Yes.
you can get bird feeders that fasten to the glass.
You can, and they're great because you can see through.
Yeah.
And so people, if they're in a flat or whatever, can see the little birds coming and taking everything.
Can I just inquire why you have dog food in a bowl?
Well, I have to say, Manor Farm's Finn is not very happy with me because I've raided his supper for this evening. But dog food, surprisingly meaty, wet dog food, is very, very good for blackbirds in the summer as a substitute for garden worms, because when the soil is very dry, obviously less worms around, this makes a very good substitute, and blackbirds will even feed it to their young, and it's safe to do so.
Gracious me. But again, the important thing, don't leave it out at night and keep it off the ground so that, you know, rodents, vermin
or
don't
foxes
come
or
and
whatever.
find it.
Yeah.
So dog food, well,
yes.
I
Who'd have thought?
Who'd have thought? Well, there's an array of stuff. And if you're a tidy-minded gardener like me, get the one without the husks on.
Yes.
It says you're having to clear up.
Yes, exactly.
And it goes, you will be astonished as to how fast it goes once they know where you are. And then you feel guilty if you forgot to put it out this morning.
I know.
So we're giving you a guilt trip. Brilliant, lovely, helpful advice at a time when birds really need it. Thanks, Camilla.
I better get off back to Rob's.
Off you go. Bird song. If it were an album, I'd have it on repeat. Someone else who enjoys the underscore of tweets, coos and chirps is RSPB wildlife gardener Adrian Thomas. Adrian, this is the time of year to get the full chorus, isn't it? Really?
It is. It's building right now. It's almost as if the orchestra is tuning up at this point, and then we're going to get this explosion through April and May, which I think is just an endless joy. It's just fabulous.
I love being a guy. I am an early riser. I tend to. I pack up at 10 o'clock. I'm stopped playing in the evening, you know. But early in the morning, and particularly at this time of year, on that pleasant, still morning when the sun's just coming up, and they start almost before the sun appears.
Yes, yes.
Really early.
Yeah, that dawn chorus. It is. These birds want to show that they've survived the night, because this thing about birdsong, it's there to attract a mate. A lot of people know that, but it's also to defend a territory. So when you wake up in the morning and you're a bird, you want to show that you survived the night, you're fit and healthy, and if any wandering male has come into your territory, it's sound that says, don't bother, don't bother.
They're basically all singing to one another, clear off. This is
Either clear
bit.
off or don't I look fab?
The bird that seems to be in shorter supply than it used to be is the song thrush. I mean, let's hear the song thrush. I love hearing the song thrush tapping away on a snail shell, breaking into a snail shell. This is... And they often sit at the top of the tree when they're doing this.
They do, yeah, and there's a vibrancy to the sound, isn't there? But I find that many people say, well, what exactly am I listening for that makes that a song thrush and not a blackbird or not a robin?
Yeah.
Song thrush is really unique in that it finds a phrase or a note, and then it repeats it 2, 3, 4 times, then it stops, then it finds a new phrase, and it repeats that.
Yeah.
And then it moves on to something totally different.
Yeah.
So it's like, find a note, repeat, move on. That's the song thrush.
One bird which does seem to have got more popular and more frequent in our gardens is the blackcap. Often in a hedge with, literally, a blackcap. This is some song, isn't it?
Yes.
I love the fact they can do it without breathing.
Indeed, and that's in part because the amazing breathing apparatus that they've got within them. So the sound is being made by something akin to our larynx, but further down, just where the air pipes divide.
Yeah.
And actually, they make it from 2 larynxes down there. It's called the syrinx, which is the Greek for panpipes. They can make 2 sounds simultaneously.
So that was blackcap. The bird, I think, is underrated in terms of song. One of our smallest birds used to be on the back of a farthing, the wren.
Yes.
And
yes.
I love the wren's song.
There's so much going on there, isn't there?
So intricate.
Yeah, shrill with a trill is kind of the mnemonic to remember it, because towards the end of, here he goes now, towards the end, about 2/3 of the way through, there's a really rapid fire trill that comes in. And to our ears, it's very difficult to discern exactly what's going on. But the interesting thing is that we think that birds have what is called temporal acuity, as in they hear sounds slower than we do. So if we were to slow down the wren song, we'd probably hear what the female wren is hearing and why she can pick out a good singer from a bad singer. So here we go.
So this is the wren slowed down?
Yes. And suddenly, it turns into a nightingale, effectively.
It does. That's astonishing, isn't it?
Yeah, and to think that the females are hearing all of that detail all the way through.
Even when it's condensing it the way it does.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I think you've done the same. There's two variations on the great tit. The largest of the tits, the one with the big black stripe down its tummy and the lovely sort of yellow-green side to its breast. So this is the great tit. This is the normal great tit.
It is, yeah.
Which is basically two notes, isn't it?
Yeah, seesawing.
Yeah.
Most people remember it as teacher, 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 teacher.
Very obliging. They're all up here in the tree, and we're just cueing them in. They're trained. So, honestly, it's recorded, obviously. So we've got a variant on that.
We have, yes. So teacher, teacher would be a very typical sound. Here we've got, however you describe it, dinky, dinky, dinky. And the thing with great tit is that they'll have a typical song that they play, and they'll repeat that, but they've got to have a variant, or two, or three, or four, because the female is looking for repertoire as well as the ability to repeat. This is new research that's come out. So the females are looking for the ability of the great tit to do the song exactly as it did it before, but then she gets bored and she wants something different. So it's been proven that males with a greater repertoire can actually command a larger territory.
One bird that I really look forward to coming, which has an enormous territory in the church spire opposite us, is the swift, and it screams. When I hear that in the spring, it's kind of, they're back, they're back.
Fewer people these days get to hear it because it's another of our declining species. But what an exciting sound. It's a scream if you want to go faster type scream as they career down streets.
And you've got here a swift nest box, which I've never seen before.
Yes.
So that with a lovely sort of letterbox there, so you can put those up and hope they come.
So these need to go underneath the eaves with a clear flight line in. They need about 5 metres height, so you do need to get a ladder up to put this in. But it is the lack of nest sites that is one of the problems for the swifts. And we've got the chance in many of our houses to replace what's been lost.
Wonderful. So think of swift nest boxes. And one idea, we have an enormous bay tree and the sparrows just flocking. Here they are. We have loads of house sparrows like this. They used to be in abundance, and now they seem that you've either got a lot of them or none at all.
Indeed, another of those red-listed species that's declined hugely, but which we can help in gardens. Even though that song, well, it's hardly nightingale-ish, but it's done with exuberance, isn't it?
What a fascinating... Bless you for bringing all your... and the fact that you gathered them all as well and brought them all to us is wonderful. So we need to listen out and learn. And there are apps now that you can get which will help you identify birdsong on your phone.
There are.
Hold them up and they listen and they'll tell you.
They'll tell you which species.
Reasonable accuracy?
With really good accuracy these days, another of these artificial intelligence put to good use. And once you know what the songsters are, they become friends out there and you hear them more regularly. And there's so much proof that this is good for your mental health, just to stop, relax and listen to the birds.
You've been very good for our mental health today, Adrian. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
See you again.